Wayne Madsen is a former National Security Agency officer, and he's now one of our best investigative reporters. So Wayne Madsen flew to California to investigate the supposed murder-suicide involving Philip Marshall, a former CIA drug pilot who had written a couple of books about the truth about 9/11, and his two children. So Wayne Madsen arrived in Calaveras County, California, and spent a week there talking to all the neighbors, investigating the crime scene. And what he discovered is that he is 100% certain that this was a black ops hit. In other words, an assassination by professionals connected to the national security community. And of course, here in the U.S., which national security community we're talking about could be both Israel and the U.S., because essentially the U.S. community has been taken over by the Israeli community since 9/11. And unfortunately, our national security community is not only mixed up with the Israelis, but also with organized crime. And that seems to be the place where this assassination of Philip Marshall came from. It seems that Philip Marshall had gotten his hands on some kind of explosive information, as he put it, and he was planning to publish this in his next book. After the killing of Philip Marshall and his two children by someone with a silencer, the neighbors lived very, very close and would have heard any gunshots that weren't silenced. Philip Marshall's house was then ransacked repeatedly and illegally by professional cleanup crews, including one SUV with undetermined license plates bristling with communications antenna. So when the local police, who are run by a sheriff's department that's controlled by Tea Party Republicans, told us that this was a murder-suicide and blamed the victim, Philip Marshall himself, it's clear that they're reading from a script that's been forced on them by higher authority in the so-called national security community, which, as I said, is mixed in with organized crime and the Israeli power centers. So it's very sad that this man, Philip Marshall, who spent his whole life in the Black Ops community as a drug pilot, helping Barry Seal and Oliver North smuggle cocaine for the CIA, but who turned towards the truth in the last years of his life, has not only been silenced, but that these incredibly evil people who did it actually targeted his children as well and then tried to blame him for the act. This really goes to show the sad state of affairs that we're living under here in post-9/11 America.